For years, Apple has followed a predictable rhythm with its MacBook Pro lineup: unveil the next big chip, refresh the design every few generations, and let its signature efficiency and power speak for themselves. But in 2025, Apple is changing that rhythm entirely. Something far more strategic is happening behind the scenes, and the M5 MacBook Pro sits right at the heart of it. It might seem like a modest release at first glance, a familiar 14-inch design, a subtle internal refresh, and the same mini LED display, but the truth is that this update tells us more about Apple's direction than almost any launch before. The M5 MacBook Pro is a signal that Apple's next era of computing has already begun, even before the first OLED model appears. Apple's upcoming M5 MacBook Pro is expected to debut quietly this October, without a major stage event or flashy presentation. Instead, all signs point to Apple taking its subtle, available now, approach, similar to how it launched the M3 MacBook Pro and iMac through a simple press release in late 2023. The timing fits perfectly with Apple's long-standing pattern of ending its back-to-school promotion period just as it unveils new hardware. But what makes this launch truly different is how Apple is managing its chip rollout. Unlike previous years, the company isn't introducing the full M5 family at once. Instead, the base M5 MacBook Pro will arrive first. The Pro and Max versions are expected to follow months later, likely in early 2026. At first, this might sound like Apple repeating its M2 playbook, where the standard chip came early while the more powerful versions were held back. But this time, the reasoning runs deeper. According to multiple industry sources and production insights, the split schedule is tied directly to Apple's new approach to chip architecture. The M5 Pro and M5 Max are rumored to introduce a major shift: Apple's first modular design for its in-house silicon. Instead of keeping CPU and GPU cores locked together in fixed configurations, Apple is reportedly separating them. This allows the company to tailor chips more flexibly for different workloads. Imagine being able to choose a MacBook with a lighter CPU but a powerhouse GPU, or the opposite, depending on whether your focus is heavy 3D rendering or complex data modeling. That flexibility isn't possible with the current architecture found in M1 through M4. So while the base M5 will carry on with the same unified layout, the Pro and Max models require a brand new engineering framework. This explains why the entry-level chip can ship earlier. It builds upon proven design, while the high-end versions are still undergoing validation and optimization. Now, why does that matter for you as a buyer? Because it means Apple's next major leap in silicon innovation will begin in 2026. The M5 you'll see this year represents the peak of the current generation, fine-tuned for stability, performance efficiency, and compatibility across the lineup. It's not reinventing the wheel yet, but it's smoothing every edge in preparation for what comes next. Another layer of the story comes from the recently uncovered FCC documents. These filings, often one of the final steps before a device launches, reveal a new MacBook model with the identifier A3434. This nearly confirms that Apple has already finalized and tested the M5 MacBook Pro, and that production is either underway or ready to begin shipping. The filings also hint at connectivity details. The M5 MacBook Pro references Wi-Fi 6E, or as noted, 6C, but not Wi-Fi 7. While this doesn't necessarily rule out support for the newer standard, it does suggest Apple might be saving full Wi-Fi 7 integration for the next wave of Pro and Max models. That small omission fits the theme of this release: stable, efficient, and deliberate, rather than experimental. Apple's cautious rollout also aligns with what's happening in the global chip manufacturing space. TSMC, Apple's chip supplier, is scaling up its advanced 3nm nodes, which the M5 family is built on. Producing multiple versions of a new chip simultaneously would strain production lines and risk shortages, especially ahead of the crucial holiday season. So, Apple's strategy is to prioritize volume and reliability by launching the base M5 first, ensuring a smooth entry before expanding the lineup next year. Historically, Apple's October window has been all about Macs. Whether it's a silent store update or a headline-stealing event, October has consistently been when Apple resets its Mac portfolio before the holiday push. It's the calm before the storm, a subtle move that keeps interest high without overshadowing the iPhone's September spotlight. The M5 MacBook Pro fits perfectly into this rhythm. It gives Apple a meaningful product refresh right as students, professionals, and creators look to upgrade before year's end. And for those who might not leap for the latest, it conveniently makes the M4 MacBook Pro more affordable, extending the ecosystem's appeal to new users. From a performance perspective, expectations for the M5 chip are centered around graphical and AI improvements rather than pure CPU gains. Early results from the M5 iPad Pro show up to a 35% increase in GPU performance compared to the M4, with modest but noticeable boosts in general processing efficiency. Apple is investing more in its neural engine and GPU architecture this time, knowing that AI-driven workflows, video rendering, and creative production are where professionals are heading next. That focus means that while M5 might not revolutionize everyday tasks like browsing or word processing, it will bring meaningful differences to those who use their MacBooks as creative workstations. Applications involving 3D design, video editing, and real-time effects will see smoother rendering and faster outputs, while the improved AI cores prepare the Mac for the next generation of on-device intelligence. When it comes to design, however, don't expect dramatic external changes. The 14-inch M5 MacBook Pro will almost certainly reuse the existing chassis, the same mini LED display, keyboard layout, and port configuration. The focus this year is on performance, efficiency, and refining what already works exceptionally well. But the real design revolution is coming with the M6 generation. Apple is reportedly preparing a thinner, lighter MacBook Pro with OLED displays by late 2026 or early 2027. If the M4 iPad Pro's OLED panel is any indicator, this will mark one of the most significant upgrades in MacBook history. Apple's double-stacked OLED technology produces deeper blacks, richer colors, and higher contrast ratios than any mini LED display to date. OLED also opens the door to slimmer builds, as it removes the need for multiple backlight layers. Combined with Apple's advancements in battery chemistry, particularly silicon-carbon batteries that can store more energy in smaller cells, future MacBooks could be lighter, more power-efficient, and still maintain 18 to 20 hours of battery life. This marks a stark contrast to Apple's past pursuit of thinness during the butterfly keyboard era, when the company sacrificed functionality for aesthetics. Now, Apple is blending both, leveraging efficient chips and better thermal management to achieve thin designs without compromising usability. In many ways, the M5 generation is the bridge to that new design philosophy. It's not here to wow with visual changes, it's here to stabilize, optimize, and prepare the foundation for Apple's OLED and modular chip era. Looking at the broader strategy, Apple is clearly redefining how it manages its product cycles. Instead of dropping all new Macs at once, Apple now spaces releases strategically across quarters, ensuring consistent engagement throughout the year. The M5 MacBook Pro will dominate headlines this fall, the M5 Pro and Max will refresh the market in early 2026, and the OLED redesign will serve as the grand finale in late 2026. This pacing gives Apple three major Mac moments in a single generation, keeping users constantly anticipating the next evolution, a masterclass in product timing and ecosystem control. So what does this mean for buyers right now? If you're coming from an older Intel model or even an early M1 MacBook, the M5 will feel transformative. Performance, battery life, and graphics will all take a leap forward. But for those on M2 or M3 machines, the jump may not justify a full upgrade unless you rely heavily on GPU-based workflows. Yet, even for those users, the M5's release brings one huge advantage: lower prices on existing M4 models. Every new generation reshapes Apple's pricing ladder, making the previous one more accessible, which, in turn, expands Apple's user base. As the MacBook ecosystem moves closer to OLED displays, modular chips, and advanced battery tech, it's becoming clear that Apple's real innovation isn't about rushing to surprise. It's about precision, deliberate progress that builds momentum for the long term. The M5 MacBook Pro might not look new, but its purpose is bigger than any redesign. It's the quiet catalyst that signals what's to come, a generation of Macs that will combine power, design, and efficiency like never before. Apple's October 2025 launch isn't just about a new laptop, it's about positioning the Mac for the next decade.